Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Humza Yousaf today went into FMQs, the first one since the Easter break. And of course, he will be getting questions left, right, and centre, even from his own side. And he'll have to deal with this. After all, over the Easter break, virtually everyone he knows has been arrested, with one very significant exception. For now, at least. Now, he will have to answer these questions. He will have to account for himself. But on top of that, of course, he has a new job. He is now the treasurer of the SNP. So no longer can he claim that he does not know, he is unaware, or he, is unable to say. Whatever it is, I mean, the state of the cash flow forecast, or how much cash at bank do they have? How many members do they currently have? That sort of thing. This is all part of the treasurer's job. And so he will now know, he officially knows, he cannot hide behind his ignorance any longer. And so these people must continue to be pushed. They must keep asking these questions, and Humza Yousaf must eventually be forced to come clean and tell everyone how parlous their accounts are. Now, on top of that, of course, you have a deadline coming up, and as treasurer, it is his job, his responsibility, to ensure that the accounts are freely available to the relevant authorities. In this case, by the 31st of May, he must have presented them to the Electoral Commission in Westminster. Failure to do so means that his party will not get the short money. This is money paid for out of the public purse. I don't like it, but what can you do? Two parties to help them run their business. Now, this for the SNP is £1.1 million. Now, if they don't get it, that's 1.1 million out of their coffers, money they were expecting, money they were going to use to pay salaries, to pay bills, that sort of thing. And if it isn't there, they're not going to be able to meet their obligations, and the party will most likely fold. It is that serious for the party. And of course, they don't have auditors. They don't have anyone who can do the books. It comes down to Humza Yousaf. It is his responsibility, both as leader, but more importantly, as treasurer. So he is truly getting a baptism of fire in this role, and if he does not do these accounts and get them in, the 1.1 million will fail to emerge, and I think at that point the SNP is finished, it is bankrupt, it is out of business, and it has gone. And I, for one, will laugh, and I can't wait. Anyway, we'll have a look at this article to see what's going on generally, and see how funny it is should they go. Here goes. So, the SNP faces losing £1.1 million of public cash over late accounts as Humza Yousaf refuses to update MSPs on the police probe into party finances, and Nicola Sturgeon's husband, Peter Murrell, breaks cover for the first time since being arrested. Yes, there's several things that are happening today. Murrell did sort of sneak out from under his stone today, ran for his car and drove off a bit quickly, presumably going somewhere for a bit of enjoyment with people just like him. He probably is not getting a lot of that at home, let's be honest. Anyway, the Nationalist former chief executive was detained earlier this month, questioned for 11 hours before being released pending further investigation, which we all know. But we're getting into the part here now. The financial cloud hanging over the Scottish National Party could cost it more than £1 million, a minister said today. Commons leader Penny Mordaunt said that the troubled party had a deadline of March the 31st. I think she means May the 31st. It's definitely May the 31st. To file its accounts or face its supply of short money being cut off after April. And the cash is taxpayer funding for opposition parties and their work in Parliament, and is based on how many seats and votes they have. Where in their case, very, very few votes coming forward. Although in their case, it doesn't matter how many seats and votes they have if they don't get anything at all. But the SNP parted company with its auditor last year. It emerged earlier this week. Humza Yousaf today confirmed it was still in conversations with a number of possible replacements. It doesn't take that long to replace your accountants, if you've got accountants that are willing to do the work. I think the trouble is nobody in the accountancy world wants to touch the SNP with a barge pole. It's seen as so bad and so corrupt. It's like, no, you get on and do your thing. We ain't touching you at all, Anyway, the party and senior figures, including Nick Sturgeon's husband, Peter Murrell, are currently being investigated. That's fine. In the Commons today, Ms Morden accused the SNP of poor stewardship of public money. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I understand that unless the SNP have audited accounts by March the 31st, they will lose their short money after the April payment. I think what she means is it's May the 31st is the deadline to get them in, but they must be for the accounts up to the 31st of March is how I believe it is, which is why a little bit of confusion there. But the deadline for getting it in is May the 31st. I happen to know that for sure. Mr Yousaf has been thrust into the role of overseeing the SNP's finances after Colin Beattie resigned as Treasurer. He did not resign. He said he was stepping back was his term. He said they deliberately pointed out he was stepping back until the police investigation was over. He did not actually resign. Anyway, he previously admitted he did not know the SNP's auditors accountancy firm Johnson Carmichael quit in October last year until he won the party's leadership contest at the end of last month. And if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. There's no way he didn't know. He is so tightly implicated with that cabal. They all knew, and he definitely knew. After taking First Minister's questions at Holyrood today, he told reporters the party was definitely not facing bankruptcy. He lied. Because if they don't get that 1.1 million, the party is snookered. He said, I'm pleased to say we're on a steady footing when it comes to the party's finances. But he confirmed the SNP still owes money to Mr Murrell, who gave a near £108,000 loan in 2021. It came as Nick Sturgeon's husband was today spotted for the first time since his arrest by detectives investigating the SNP's finances during the years they ran the party. There's a picture down here of him, and he's looking a very, very worried man. The Nationalist former chief executive was detained earlier. We've done all that story. I'm not going to go into that. But here he is. He's seen leaving his home that he shares with ex-First Minister Miss Sturgeon and nearly ex-wife Miss Sturgeon, I think, near Glasgow on Thursday morning, the day after Colin Beattie, who was also arrested, quit as party treasurer, stood back. The investigation into the whereabouts of more than $600,000 in donations also saw a motorhome intended to be used for the party campaigning seized from the driveway of Mr Murrell's mother. Also, jewellery was picked up and taken. But look at the face on there. There is a face of a man who's not overly keen to see the cameras looking at him. And you have to wonder where he's going. Look at them. It's just a little... you see, the last time we saw this, it's Scotland's top 10 wanted. Top 10 most wanted in Scotland, isn't it? Anyway, Mr Beattie, who was also an MSP for the SNP, served as Treasurer from 2004 to 2020 and again from 2021. Speaking to the BBC, Mr Yousaf said he hopes to soon appoint someone to what is usually an elected position, but now he's going to appoint one, which means he will appoint one of his kiss-ass cronies, just like all of them who are in his cabinet. Anyone who stood against him or said anything against him in the election got nothing. They got very short shrift from him, and that is what you do when you want to totally divide and destroy a party. You don't invite the opposition to join. He should have certainly had Kate Forbes in his cabinet and possibly something small for Ash Regan, but he didn't do that. And so he said, no, I'm filling my cabinet with all my kiss asses, all my lick spittles, all my yes men. And he's done that. And then immediately, boop, split the party, because everyone who's on Kate Forbes' side said, you know what, you're just a pointless waste of time. And that is why he won't be leader for long. He said, we'll appoint a treasurer in the coming days, but of course as party leader, I'll make sure I'm overseeing the finances of the party. Well, God help the party then, because he's damaged every other finances he's ever had control of. He said, but we'll appoint a new national treasurer as soon as we can. The post is usually one elected by members, but Mr Yousaf said the party is not going to have time to elect someone to the role, and he ruled out continuing in the job alongside being party leader and First Minister. There's two jobs there that he cannot do. Now he's taken on the third role of treasurer, which he cannot do. So a man with three jobs at which he is useless at all three. Asked if he had pushed Mr Beattie to resign, Mr Yousaf said, Colin and I had a conversation, as you'd expect us to do, and he understood that the best thing for the party was for him to step back as being national treasurer. No one is saying he's resigned. No one is saying he's fired. They keep using the weasel word, step back, meaning he's going to come back afterwards and take up his role again, because he knows where the bodies are buried, and they've all got... I don't know, is he basically he going to have butt fun or something? Because these three at the top, he isn't making any of them. He's not throwing any of them out the party. He's not suspending any of them, which he should have done, because he hasn't got the balls. So they must have something on him. I bet there's pictures of him leather clad and sucking things. Opposition politicians hit out at the First Minister, with Scottish Labour Deputy Leader Jackie Baillie saying Mr Beattie's decision to resign was the right thing, but it was taken by the wrong man. Wrong. They keep putting this resign thing. Nobody. Colin Beattie has never said he's resigned. Humza Yousaf has never said that this man has resigned. They keep using the term step back. They need to clarify. Somebody in that parliament needs to ensure that he has actually resigned and that he is not stepping back with the idea of coming back to the role later, because that is what's going to happen. While Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoy suggested the ex-Treasurer should have been suspended from the party. All of them should be suspended by the party, but none of them are, because they haven't got the balls to do it. Scottish Lib Dem leader Alex Cole-Hamilton said that the vacancy is the least appealing in Scottish political history. The arrest this week has ensured the police investigation into the SNP finances has continued to overshadow the early days of Mr Yousaf's tenure. I'm going to suggest the entirety of his tenure. I think he will be gone before long. Anyway, he's just there. That's rounding off. But yeah, so he's turned up. He keeps this mantra of stepping back, never admitting that that he's quit, that he's gone, that he's resigned. He's merely stepping back. But this 1.1 million will be very significant. Whatever Humza Yousaf says about the party's finances, that 1.1 million will be absolutely crucial. And without it, they will be unable to do their business. And I want to see what happens. And we'll know. I mean, literally, they got, 5.5, 6 weeks at most. Absolutely most. And 6 weeks, if you're running through the doors at closing time, it is literally that quickly. 6 weeks to get the accounts sorted. Appoint accountants, get them in, get them sorted, do the full reporting. It isn't going to be good enough. Especially if those accounts are as bad as we suspect they are. So there's no way it's going to happen. So I think that is it. I think it is probably it for the SNP. If they don't get that 1.1 million, they are screwed. Anyway, let's round up and come up. So the next few days are going to be absolutely critical. If they don't have auditors appointed by Tuesday or Wednesday next week, it's just going to be absolutely impossible for those books to be done. If he doesn't get a treasurer appointed within a few days, nobody can even authorise the books to be done. Who can he authorise? Who can he ask to do the treasury role? And who would be stupid enough to accept it? Now, I know there's a lot of stupid people in the SNP, but this is a different kind of stupid. This is a stupid where you know you're putting yourself in the firing line for very little reward. And I think a lot of them actually know that the SNP's days are completely numbered. You can almost hear the clock ticking down. So it's there. And why the members aren't up in arms and demanding Humza Yousaf resigns, I do not know. But he has done nothing for the party except to destroy it and to bring it down to his level. But of course he is the continuity candidate, so he's only continuing what Sturgeon and Murrell have started, which is, of course, the final destruction of the SNP. So he's doing a fair job at that. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and always leave a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, don't stand to be the treasurer of the SNP, and goodbye.